right, who wants to hear about high-octane adventures and the latest and greatest on the motor scene? It's time to rev it up with John and Jess on Joy 1340.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's John and Jess. Rev it up. How's everybody doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm all wound up today. I don't know about you.
Well, it looks like you're wearing flannel that I had on before, but it's okay.
You're so weird. You're so weird.
All right. Yeah. So Thanksgiving's over.
Thanksgiving is over. I'm full. I'm stuffed.
Yeah.
Got my mashed taters and gravy.
I could use another nap, but it's good.
You're always sleeping, so it's just like any other day.
I am not.
Yeah,
I don't even know where she gets it from.
Okay.
You know.
Surprised you're awake now.
Now we got to get geared all up for Christmas.
Okay, no, I'm not ready for that. I'm good.
Well, they had the Christmas stuff out right after Halloween, actually.
So.
I
my friend Melanie, she's immediately into Christmas right after Halloween. I need some time.
No,
don't
call her Mel.
She will slice you up.
Mel, can you hear me? I'll pay for that later.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've got, welcome back. Again, we're on 98.7 FM, Joy 1340 AM, part of the Milwaukee Radio Group, which every listeners know, the 102.9 The Hog and 96.5 KLH.
Yeah, great people here. I like it a lot.
Oh, I like it. It's great, Sometimes you turn the heat off on us over
like
here.
Right now.
We must not be like up there with like Born and Mandy, and stuff like that, so they kind of...
No, we're like in the recesses of the building.
Yeah, we're not to that status
No,
yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
So, again, this week we have another great guest on here. And we're gonna, this show is basically about all things motorsports, adrenaline, all the great shops, builds around. And Jess, who do you have online today?
Joining us today is Goddard Wagner, the owner and operator of the Mullet Machine out of Illinois.
Goddard, welcome to the show, man.
Hi, welcome.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good. Question.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks. Question for those people who are not in the know, what is the Mullet Machine, and how would you describe it to the people listening on the radio? Like, how is that even possible?
With never actually experiencing or seeing it, it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
But I guess I would say it is an absolutely over-the-top, loud, fire-breathing, wheel-standing, street-legal van.
Yes! Oh, my God, you nailed it!
You nailed it, and I love it. I love everything about it. It's just...
That resembles the Mystery Machine.
And why does it look like the Mystery Machine? I thought for sure that's what it was when I first saw it.
Well, back in 2004, when I purchased it, my cousin, I have to give him credit, actually. My cousin, Johnny Graham, rode with me to Colorado to pick it up. I purchased it on eBay for $600.
No way.
Before you go any further, I just got to say, your name, Goddard Wagner, and you just said Johnny Graham. I mean, you guys have like rock star names. Like, seriously. I mean, Goddard and Johnny Graham.
Johnny.
We're on the road today. All right, go ahead.
Sorry.
I just had to point that out. I was like, wow.
We've gotten in lots of trouble over the years.
I can imagine.
But, so anyway, on the way back, the van was baby blue when I purchased it, and I had a pretty wicked mullet back at the time, which is funny because it was not popular at all then, and it's coming back.
Chicks dig it no matter what era it is. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he looked over at me on the way home on the highway, and he's like, "The Mullet Machine."
That's perfect.
And it sucked.
It's kismet.
We got home and actually spray painted it on the side the first day.
That's awesome. I love this story.
That's awesome.
You just said what I said.
I know.
Why do you copy me?
Well, do you know how I got in touch with the Mullet Machine and Goddard here?
I was surprised to see him at Motor Mania this year.
Well, I was a little surprised for everybody. So what it was is we sent Austin up to Dell's Automotion.
Yes.
To go up there, and he sent me. I've seen you on some TikTok and YouTube before I knew you were in Wisconsin, and we couldn't make it up to Automotion this year. But Austin sent me this thing out, and he said, "Look at what's going down the road." And he hit the gas going out of, I believe it was by Noah's Ark,
yes,
or something there. And Austin said you got pulled over; they wouldn't let you do it anymore. And I said, "You go tell that guy he can come to Motor Mania. We'll find out who he is, and he can do it all day long, all weekend long at my show, and I will pay him to be there, and I'll give him a hotel room."
Yes.
And I got a hold of him, and he couldn't believe it. He goes, and I think this. You told me that was about the most fun you ever had a show in your life was being on our show last summer.
Oh, it was an absolute blast. I cannot wait for June next year for the the next one.
I was actually fortunate enough to get a ride in it, and I could have ridden in it all day long. Like, seriously, it was like one of my favorite parts of the show. The thrill that you get just going up in the air like that is just great. I love it.
We actually had in the morning, we had a Fox 6
oh yeah,
a reporter in there too.
Brett hopped in there, didn't she? No, it was the other guy.
Yeah, we had the other guy hop in.
It was a Fox News anchor, I believe.
Yep, we had a news anchor from the morning show hop in there, and it was great. I mean, you guys got, no matter what was going on in the drag strip, what was so much fun is that we had the street drags, the 300-foot street drags going on, and every time you just kept circling the track and come right on back and giving people rides. It was great. During the day at night.
Anybody and everybody.
It had so much fun. You ran out of fuel, and I remember at one point, I don't know who it was. Oh, I think it was Scott Finko, our safety coordinator. Mm-hmm. He's just like, he goes, John, can I take a break? And I'm like, yeah, it's Motor Mania, man. Do whatever you want. And he was so worried about the safety thing. And then he's just like, he dropped his headset, and we were going to take over for the safety stuff. And I don't know if you were on the track at that point, and you were basically lining up to give him a ride, and the rear wheel snapped right off.
Oh no, poor Scott!
Scott's like, yeah, the rear wheel fell off, and I had to go get the skid loader and get him off. And we handled it really good, though. It was really good and made it social media, but we had a good laugh about it. And Scott's like, you got to be kidding me, man! I've been on here, but it was pretty fun.
Now it runs on regular gas, right? But just a lot of it.
No, so I have a primer system, probably a half-gallon gasoline tank primer system. So I started on gasoline, and then I pull the lever and switch it over to methanol. Ooh. So it actually runs and drives on methanol.
Okay.
But then I added another 5-gallon gasoline tank, and that's injected into the exhaust, and the spark plugs light it up as it goes out. So that's how I'm getting the 6-8 foot flames coming out of
that. Was going to be my next question. Yeah. How do we obtain the flames coming out the pipes?
Yeah, which you guys didn't see that. I did that after Motor Mania this year.
Yeah, you kind of upped the game a little bit after that. I saw the video, and I thought, yeah, that's going to be great for at night.
Or for breakfast.
It's really taken off on social media too. So it's quite entertaining.
Yeah, and then speaking of social media, one of the big things is obviously everybody wants to know where to find you at, but the other thing is your social media, and it was just pretty fun. I know after you get a pretty good following when you got to our show, and after that I know you and Austin were playing some stuff, and it was on, correct me if I'm wrong, but TikTok or Instagram, your following base just exploded after that, didn't it?
Yes, I started my Instagram. So I've never been on social media really. I had a personal Facebook account and never really did much with it. Mm-hmm. And then in May, before Automotion, I started my Instagram. And before Motor Mania, I probably had, 5,000 to 10,000 followers, which is pretty good.
That's pretty good.
A month and a half.
Very good, yeah.
But then after Motor Mania, I believe I grew like 50,000 followers.
Oh my gosh!
Within a month after Motor Mania.
It was so cool to see that grow, and after you getting networking from our show and other people around the country, and giving people like Horny Mike and everybody rides, and they were sharing your social media. It was so cool, and then the response. I mean, I don't think nobody could wipe the smile off your face or your brother's all weekend long. I really don't. And
it's well deserved. Yeah, that kind of following is well deserved on your part. It's just so fabulous.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were instrumental in my following base, and that's why I've worked with Austin many times in collaborating with him over the Instagram reels and whatnot. It's been fun. It's been fun, and I'm looking forward to see what comes next with it.
Yeah, we're always on the go.
What was your greatest challenge in building it and bringing it all together? If you could name a big one, just one.
Well, originally when I built it, I had an Oldsmobile motor that actually my cousin Johnny Graham gave me, and we put it was a 79 Cadillac Eldorado transmission, and he's like, we could put this in the back, and because I wanted to build a wheel stander out of it, so street legal, which is something pretty rare.
Oh yeah.
So it could be a daily driver for me if I wanted to.
What's that?
I said, so technically it could be my daily driver if I really wanted it to be.
If you could afford the fuel.
Yes. So the answer is a yes. I'm running with it. I'm sorry to interrupt. Continue on.
Thanks for that. I guess we're getting it. I guess you're
That's
building
what I
your
want
another
for
machine,
Christmas.
Well, well, back to the fuel real quick. Methanol, you can't just go to the pump and buy. So you have to buy. I buy it in 55-gallon drums. And this year alone, I went through, I believe, 6 or 7 drums of methanol.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
What are we talking for a 55-gallon drum?
About $275 for
Okay.
a drum of methanol.
Okay.
So about 385 gallons, and I don't really drive it very far, but
Right.
she is thirsty.
So doing our show over the Motor Mania. Now that was extreme amount of that. That's a little extreme. You don't do that at many shows like that. But how much fuel did you go through at Motor Mania?
Just that one event. Let's see. I brought 2 15s and then 6 5-gallon jugs. And I have a 16-gallon fuel tank, and all of that was full when I showed up. And I believe when I got home, I had about 12 gallons left in the fuel tank, and that was it.
That's awesome. That's a good time.
That is a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. So as soon as I got home, I ordered 3 more drums of fuel.
There we go. One of the big thing that I have on your list here that I need to talk to you about is that I was a little disappointed in, and we're talking about my weight, of course, at this point in my life, because everybody's getting a ride. I'm like, oh, I'd love to get in and do a face live, and you just kind of look at me like, dude, you're way too big. You
You're
can't
too
go in there. I'm
big.
like, what?
I kind of thought you were going to bring this up.
Yeah, because you were like my buddy
He's
until
salty.
that. You were my buddy until I heard I was too big to ride in the car, and I'm like, really? Like, really?
Well, it still has the had up until I pulled everything apart now.
Okay.
But it still has the TH325 transmission.
Okay.
That was the weakest transmission out of all of the front-wheel drive transmissions. I did not know that at the time. I just bought one and started making it work.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been a trend since I built this new motor. I'm making, at least 700 horse, probably a little more. And the van is not light. It's 4,200 pounds or somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
So it seemed like every time I took somebody in the passenger seat over 200 pounds, I would break the sprag in the transmission. When the sprag breaks, that takes out all the internals of the trans and pull it out and rebuild it.
So for the fans and followers, he just pointed out that I'm well over 200 pounds.
I'm sorry, John. You are not going to ever be able to get a ride in the Mullet Machine.
No, I'm going to make my own machine.
It's all muscle, though. It's all muscle.
I'm going to make the heavy machine. And I'm going to do something like that.
The rock machine.
Well, I am currently in the process of having a TH425 built, which those were in the old, like, mid-70s GMC motorhomes.
Oh, yes.
If you could picture one of those.
Motorhome power. That'll get you up there.
That'll hold me.
That'll get you up there.
So I'm in the process of having that built.
Oh, sweet.
Once that comes in, there's one dimension I may have to futz with to try and make it work. Then I need to build a new tail shaft for that one, and possibly reclock the rear end to get the alignment correct. But next year it should be a TH425.
Okay.
All right.
And then we'll go for a ride.
And obviously your background, you got a background of building cars and hot rods and stuff like that, because one doesn't just simply come up with the idea to build a wheelie machine. You did a lot of research on this, and back in the day there were Little Red Machine or Little Red Wagon and all the
Little
other
Red Wagon.
Little Red Wagon is what a lot of people base this off of. And Jess, that was of course, like his van, and then Little Red Wagon is like my brother Randy's vehicle, the Econoline, or the one that we sold to Roadkill. The one I sold to Roadkill over there, a Econoline pickup where it had the motor in the back, and they did a wheel stand. Went back when we were younger. late 70s, early 80s, I'd say Goddard, basically.
Yeah, they were pretty popular back then.
And what they would
they
do is
still do wheel stand competitions and whatnot, but it's not what it used to be.
no, and basically what they did is when they would go up in the air, the floorboard of the vehicle, kind of like the monster trucks are nowadays, is a clear plexiglass.
Oh.
So basically when you're up in the air, you can't see anything.
Okay. Yeah.
So you go
that
through
makes sense.
and you can steer. You have the vehicle and you can go see where you're going before you let it down.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you might kiss a wall. I mean, well, did you happen to kiss a wall at Motor Mania? I believe too.
The difference with that is in the wheel standing cars, you're sitting, 6 feet back from the front of the vehicle.
Yes.
So you have to look through the floor.
Mm-hmm.
With this van, we're sitting at the windshield.
Yeah, you're sitting right in the front.
I cut out basically the nose of the van and added a plexiglass on the nose, so you're looking between your knees, out the front of the van. So you're at the front, so you're high in the air. You're not in a car to where you're 6 feet back and 2 feet off the ground in a wheel stand. So it's a very different experience.
Now, when you were driving cross country to pick it up, when you first bought it, did you know you were going to make it into a wheelie van?
No, I've always loved those vans. They're just hilarious. You see one driving down the road and you're just like, holy smokes, look at this thing. It's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I've always loved them. So we drove out there over 4th of July weekend, 2004. I met my wife, well, at the time, hold on a second, sorry. I met my wife in May of 2004, and their family goes to Norwalk, Ohio, to Summit Motorsports Park for the Halloween Classic every year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, another great show.
They invited me to go that first year in 2004, and on Saturday night they have a wheel stand competition, and I watched that show, and I know what I'm doing with the van when I get home. And I got home and started cutting it apart.
That's cool.
That is so cool. And speaking of like shows like Norwalk and stuff, Jess and I were wondering, what other shows have you been at with it, or where else do you travel around the country with it? Or where have you been, actually?
Other than the 2 shows in Wisconsin, I do local shows, just, to get it out. I like the attention. It's enjoyable to see people's faces when, you go through an intersection and pull a wheelie. It's not something you see every day, so I enjoy that. And now, with the flamethrower and stuff, even if there's a crowd around, I can still hit the flames. And, anywhere you go, by the time I get out of the van, there's a crowd around me.
Oh,
Well,
sure.
yeah.
Of course.
So
of course.
It's such an attention grabber. It's just fun to go to any show around. And, actually Labor Day Monday, a local show called Cops and Hot Rodders asked me to come to the show. So I came there, and I'm sitting there, walking around, whatever. And the guy running the show comes over and says, if the cops shut down Route 52, which in Joliet is the main highway through there, if they come and shut down Route 52, would you mind going and doing a couple wheelies?
The answer is yes.
Well, yeah, let's go.
A million times
So they
yes.
actually shut down a four-lane highway, and I went and did some wheelies, blew some flames, and went back and parked and actually won the Kids' Choice Award for that show.
Oh, that's great.
So that was quite fun.
Whenever you get an opportunity, when they say the cops shut it down and ask you to do something, that is my that is. I mean, you can never pass that up. It's like they're all the things we get yelled for doing wrong.
And it was quite entertaining. Like I said, 4-lane highway, and people are running across the street because the crowd is so big on the right side while the car show cars are parked. They're running across the street as I'm starting the van and driving out there so they can get a better picture or video.
It's just so cool. I mean, isn't it a good feeling? That people are coming to watch you for it. It's really cool.
Aside from rocking some awesome hair, is that your favorite part of driving the Mullet Machine? Is like the fans?
I would have to say yes. The look on people's faces is just priceless.
It is pretty cool.
I mean, it half the time when I'm doing a wheelie, I've done it so many times, and my peripheral vision has gotten pretty good.
Yeah.
At knowing where I'm at and how the van's acting and everything else. So half the time I'm doing a wheelie, I'm looking at the person next to me sitting in the passenger seat, watching their face, and it's just priceless.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is, you kind of had this, and I don't know if this is the first time the duo came out.
I was going to ask about that. Your sidekick, yeah.
So you're we called you the Mullet Brothers. Now that is your brother, right, with the Camaro, right?
No, that was Johnny Graham. Actually.
It's Johnny Graham. I missed the opportunity to meet Johnny Graham.
Of course. Wow, that changes my whole look on life. I didn't know it was, with the legend. I didn't know that.
He placed in the burnout contest, did he not?
The legend Johnny Graham. So he actually had I believe it was like a burgundy IROC, right, out there?
Yep. And man, did that do some burnout.
He won some dollars that day.
He won some dollars.
He did.
He even had, I believe there's videos with him and Horny Mike in the passenger seat. I know.
Yeah, I went to jump in the car with him as he was taking the T-tops off. And Horny Mike yelled over, "Hey, mind if I ride?" So I jumped in the back seat. So we had 3 passengers in there doing donuts and burnouts.
It's, and to do that stuff, I mean, the shows and stuff we grew up on, and to do this stuff, I mean, it's great for Jess and I, now, doing the shows for one thing, to have the celebrities and talk to them is, just like average people. But I mean, you guys were just loving it, having Horny Mike in the front seat,
great.
and just, you wouldn't stop to laugh. The smile on your face is great.
It was a blast. I've watched Counts Custom since they started the show. I mean, it was fantastic hanging out with him.
Yeah, it's everybody has loved it. I mean, we couldn't get enough of it. And then from then on out, was that the first time you guys were together as the Mullet Brothers that had to happen somewhere else, or no? In character as the Mullet Brothers, that was the first time. That's awesome. That is so great.
You can say they
seemed to work
debuted.
pretty good.
Yeah, I see some T-shirts and apparel that you had out for the Mullet Machine. But I do see some stuff, and we always like network and come up with some ideas. But I think it'd be pretty neat if you had the van and the Camaro doing burnouts and had the Mullet Brothers show or something on the back of a shirt. That'd be pretty neat.
I would say, and we need T-shirts. I'm big on T-shirts.
Get on it.
That would be pretty hilarious.
Oh yeah, we can do it. Well, you're a sideshow act. It's great.
Can we say it's safe?
Pretty much.
Can we say it's safe to say that you guys are going to be a staple at our Motor Mania shows from here on out? Please, please, please.
Well, I mean, if you guys keep inviting me.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Well, I would have I'd have some serious. Not only Jess to answer to, but the thousands of fans and everybody that shows up, and the kids that know you're coming for next year. They would. You need to be there. That would be like kicking, or not inviting you. Would be like me not inviting the monster trucks, and people like, what's your problem? Like, why isn't he here?
Right.
Weird. And the whole Motor Mania show, it was amazing. Jim Kramer, driver of the iconic Bigfoot, it stops me and asks if I could take his lovely wife Julie for a ride.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody like that asking, little me, nobody, if I could take his wife for a ride, just blew my mind. I mean, it was like childhood dream come true.
That's so funny.
And then I got to ride in the bed of Bigfoot for the monster truck parade. I mean, it was.
It's a good time. Yeah, all around.
And that's why, stories like this and what we want to carry on throughout the year, every year till the next show. That's why we made it. That's why it formed and Motor Mania came about, and we just love it. Hearing the stories and making everybody's dreams come true, through doing that stuff, it's great. I mean, we just love being a part of it.
For sure.
So, well, next year also, I do have plans, hopefully having another vehicle there too. So we'll see. I haven't revealed that on anything yet, so
look at
can't
that.
wait.
Keep an eye out for my videos on the next one coming out.
Keep me on my toes. All right.
We've got a lot of big plans coming up for 2023, and obviously you're a main part of the show, and we've got some, not only celebrities, but a lot of builders and shops building some crazy stuff to perform, and not only the 300-foot drags and the burnout contest, and just perform and give people a great show next year. So it's going to be great.
Yeah.
How can
I was thinking about that too. I'm like, man, he's got so many good things. What else could he possibly add? And I thought of one thing, and if it's okay, I'll run it by you.
Go for it. We love it.
A flamethrower contest.
Oh my God!
So it's so funny you bring that up because we actually had 2020, when I had Motor Mania the first year, shows were shut down around the country. And Goddard, as you know, and Jess, you know it better than anybody. When somebody tells me I can't do something or have a rule to break, I find out how far I can push the envelope. So I do that. And that's why Motor Mania still went on in 2020. And we actually had a couple friends of ours. Now, we kind of let the, I guess you call it the rockabilly style shows, do the flamethrower contest. But now it's not just about that lifestyle. People love the flamethrower contest. So we actually have a couple of them out. We want to have a contest and bring that out. So we are taking that into consideration.
Under
very
advisement.
Heavily.
I'm in.
Yep, we're in.
I like flames.
So we got a lot more things to bring up.
Hey, Goddard, how can people follow you on social media? Where can they find you?
Mullet Machine 67, all one word. TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I'm on all of them.
All right. And we will also link it when you go to our website, themotormania.com, or our Facebook pages. You can link it up in the Goddard. And we're running out of time here, Goddard, but we want to thank you very much for all the info and the backstory on this machine and you and the Mullet brothers.
Johnny Graham. Thanks to Johnny Graham for letting me say Johnny Graham.
We love it. So.
It's the legend, Johnny Graham.
The legend, Johnny Graham.
Well, you get back to work, brother. Thanks a lot for having me on the show, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you guys very much for having me, and looking forward to the next one.
All right. Thank you.
So, if you want to contact myself or John, right? John or Jess.
At themotormania.com.
Mm-hmm. So, it's John or Jess at themotormania.com. Listen in next Sunday at 1:30 on Joy 1340 AM, 98.7 FM. Whatever you do, always give 100% unless you're donating blood. Ta-ta for now.
Ta-ta. And everybody, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.